Good morning. How's my audio sound? What do we got going on today? I'm kind of moving slow after the holidays. How about everybody else? It was a nice break. We were a little bit slow at work. I'm always looking for someone to confirm. Okay, thanks. I see a like. That means it must be working. Audio must be on and everything. Let's see. I was going to try to get up some of these pictures first from the Lisle Lights event, but I was struggling getting them to download, and so I'm going to have to share them in the comments, which is kind of a bummer. But they have results from the Lisle Lights contest. The winner is 749 Reedy Road was the People's Choice Award. That was a real nice one with the music playing. All you guys that went, we had a fun little time driving around and checking those out. It was a little chaotic at first, organizing everybody. I really appreciated the help from people trying to put me on the right path, driving through town. And yeah, so the People's Choice was 749 Reedy Road, with all the music's tuned to the radio station. And then 2509 Oak Ridge Way was the choice of the judges' vote. So I could probably even figure out how to share those down there right now. But we're just trying to focus on Lisle. I didn't really prepare much today. Just kind of wanted to come to you guys and touch base. I took a little break for the holidays, trying to relax. Had some paperwork to file for the election and everything, and we got all that in. And, just trying to get ready for election season. Trying to do our work, That's the hard part, is maintaining what we're doing for the service we're providing to the community, and yet preparing to operate an election at the same time. My focus mostly is my job as trustee. I've been speaking to people. There's a big issue that I think that the community needs to really pay attention to, that's coming before planning and zoning. I know I keep stressing it to you guys. I'm going to be reaching out to some of you guys for the community's help on this one. There's a potential possibility that in our OR district, that was the video I made out there by the Hyatt of Lisle, there's a developer that is looking to put in a 55 and over facility. And during our code rewrite, there's a possibility that could get drawn up to where it would be a prohibited use. I'm not necessarily for or against it at this juncture. I don't even know what it looks like. But if we make it a prohibited use, it automatically shuts it down before it even starts. So I think allowing apartments and 55 and over to be a special use in an office research development area is vital, especially after COVID. And I think most of the community will support me in that. We need to be exploring more options of development in Lisle and not shutting it down before it even hits the door, before you even hit the door with it. What's the biggest priority for Lisle if elected mayor? Thanks for that. Actually, you know what? I wanted to talk about something. I might as well bring it up right now. I got given this gift for Christmas. I really like these little gifts. I told you earlier, somebody gave me this gift. This is what I made a post of the other day. This is a Christmas album I grew up listening to as a kid all the time. Kenny Rogers Christmas. And it was just a constant in the house. And there's a song called Kentucky Homemade Christmas. And, it's about a lot of things, but I was a little boy listening to it. And it was basically about knowing that you were too poor to get any of the gifts that were in old, what was his name? Jalen. I can't remember the guy's name or the store that he owned. But yeah, so that was a very nice gift, thoughtful gift that somebody sent me. And this was another very thoughtful gift. John Meacham, The Soul of America. And so I guess I'm going to use that to answer that question of what's my biggest priority for Lisle if elected mayor. I just started reading this book. I probably could have been reading it more if I wouldn't have been reading my phone. But right in the introduction, it's fascinating. And I think that it really sums up what I think about the mayor of Lisle. It's the soul of America. It's the soul of Lisle. And Lisle's part of America. And we need people in these positions to care about the soul of America, to care about all the individuals, all of our differences, all the diverse issues that we're facing as a nation really get compiled into us as a local community more so now than ever. You used to be able to keep a lot of these national things separate, but with pandemics, COVID-19, the George Floyd incident, all this stuff is kind of boiling over into our local streets. So there's something in here that right in the introduction that I wanted to mention, that this is talking about presidents. But locally, I guess it's called the village president. So it really touched. I was really thankful that my sister got me this book. She knows what I need to hear when I need it, So thank you for that, Robin. Let's see. It's talking about Harry Truman right here. And he's talking about after the four-way presidential election. And he basically said, I'll just read it. He said, "You cannot divide a country up into sections and have one rule over one section and one rule for another. You can't encourage people's prejudices. You have to appeal to the best instincts, not our worst ones. You may win an election or so by doing the other, but it does a lot of harm to the country." Truman understood something his legendary immediate predecessor had also grasped. Franklin Roosevelt observed during 1932 campaign that the presidency is not merely an administrative office. That's the least of it. It is more than an engineering job, efficient or inefficient. It is preeminently a place of moral leadership. That's what I think is the most important issue in facing Lisle. There's a lot of stuff going on. And it's complicated and difficult. And it's bleeding into our little beautiful community, Lisle, that I love so much. But I'm going to read that sentence again. It's more than an engineering job, efficient or inefficient. It is preeminently a place of moral leadership. All our great presidents were leaders of thought at times when certain historic ideas in life of the nation had to be clarified. I hope that I can bring clarification, Sometimes it's perceived as negative when you're pointing things out, when you're trying to clarify. And it's hard. So I try to maintain a good positive attitude, a good positive image of what I see for Lisle while I watch things that aren't so positive happen. And it's difficult, but that's the most important thing. We're going through a difficult time as a nation in so many ways. And right here at home, we're neighbors, we're friends. And I want to work well with everybody, even those that I disagree with. I want to figure out ways to find the commonality in our opinions and commonality in the work that we're trying to accomplish and get those things accomplished. And we can save the fighting for another day. Sometimes you got to take a position and it's difficult, but most of the time we should be able to find things that we agree on and be able to work towards success. That's something that I told some people when all this started, when I was trying to campaign, was that there's room for all of us to succeed is the message that I brought to some people. And that got misconstrued later. Then people said that I was trying to manipulate them into running for different positions. And that's not what I was trying to do at all. I was looking for ways for all of us to succeed. And that's the same thing I'm trying to do with my neighbors, with my communities, with my coworkers, everything we do. I'm looking for ways for all of us to succeed. You know, most of us have a pretty solid vision for what we want for our community, for what we want for our homes. And we have different ways of trying to get there, but we need leaders. And I feel stupid calling myself a leader, you know, like it's a silly word. It's a silly thing. We're all supposed to lead. I always call it leading from the back. You know, that's the way I ride my motorcycle. You know, when you get in a group of guys riding a motorcycle, you got the guy that's got to be up in front. And, you know, that guy's got to make decisions that the whole group, who might not be paying attention to everything, has to follow. If that guy makes the right turn and it's the wrong turn, then the whole group is going that way. And you have to turn around or reset or whatever, and it can be difficult. And that's a hard job to have. I prefer to ride in the back. You know, I want to be able to see what's coming up behind us, to the sides of us. I want to be able to see the riders in front of me that are my friends, and be able to point out obstacles and things that I might see that they can't from their perspective. And that's kind of how I try to do this government thing, is I want to lead from the back. I want to find the real leaders and make sure they're succeeding. That's one of the reasons why I support Rob Taylor the most. I can't say enough about the man. Well, we're pretty good friends, so we can give each other a pretty hard time, you know, because that's the way our relationship is we're tough on each other. I call it iron sharpening iron. You know, it's like, that's how you do it. That's how you sharpen a knife. You know, you run it up against a stone. You run it up against iron. You sharpen it up. And that's what Rob Taylor and I do for each other, is we sharpen we're helping each other sharpen our skills, sharpen our abilities, be better human beings every day. And so hands down, without a doubt, Rob Taylor is my number one choice, my only choice for village trustee. He's been running, he's been on the board for the Carlin Nally Foundation for, I don't even know how long, Rob, 10 years, longer. He's the one. Here's the story of how we started this scholarship in the name of Ralph King. Ralph King was my industrial arts teacher in school. And Ralph was a pretty funny guy, you know. He was your typical shop teacher. You know, we had a good time. He had kids like me in there that were probably having too much fun. But, you know, he taught us that you can have fun, but you got to be careful. You know, he taught us how to use the safeties, the guards, the push sticks for table saws, all these different things. We built bread boxes and cabinets and really neat stuff. And so when the Industrial Arts Scholarship from Carlin Nally started, it started in Rob Taylor's little library that he has at his house. And we were sitting around, and he was telling me that he was part of the Carlin Nally Foundation, and this is how the all years reunion happens in Lisle, which is one of the best things about Lisle. Man, if you guys are watching and you're not from Lisle and you're looking for a place to live, I'm telling you, hands down, we are one of the coolest little towns. So the Carlin Nally Foundation puts on an all years reunion, because, you know, you go to your class reunions and there's 12 people, 15 people, lots of people you didn't really spend a lot of time with anyways. People don't go to them. Lisle, we have an all years reunion, and it's coming up this year in, I think, October of 2021. So if you're from Lisle, if you're out of town, I'll put the date down here below us. And man, schedule your family trip. Schedule your time back to Lisle during our all years reunion. It's great for someone like me. My mother went to Lisle, my aunts and uncles, sisters, brothers. I have great uncles, people who went to Lisle. And so you go to this, and we'll get 600 some people, 400, 600 people. And and they talk about this class, and people get up and they represent, and they talk about the old days when Lisle football used to play Bennett. That was back when my brother played football for him. And there was a trophy. I can't remember what it was called, but it kind of like Wisconsin and Illinois have, like whoever wins that year, they get to hold on to it. And Lisle actually used to be able to beat Bennett. That's how long ago this has been going on. But yeah, so Rob was telling me about all this stuff, and this is 10 years ago or so, I bet you. And I was kind of joking. I'm like, well, how come all these scholarships, they're for the arts and band? I'm like, that's all great. I love the academics and the Brian Piccolo Award, which my brother won. You know, those are all great things. I'm like, but here I am, a trades guy. I'm running cranes. I'm working with iron workers, plumbers, electricians, you know, all these people, especially nowadays, we hear about how important their work is here in this country. And that's how the Ralph King Industrial Arts Scholarship was formed. Just talking with Rob. And I had just come from the credit union, so I had some cash in my pocket. And he's like, well, we've been talking about this. You want to start the Ralph King? You want to start a scholarship? How about we name it after Ralph King? I'm like, just like that. And he's like, just like that. We'll take it before the board. We've discussed some of this stuff in the past. He's like, you want to finance it? And he somehow convinced me at that moment that I should pay for the Carlin Nally Scholarship for Ralph King. And I did, you know, and I was happy to do it, even while handing over the cash. And I do it to this day. I just donated to that scholarship fund over Christmas. We're having our fundraising event. So I'll put some of those links there. If you got a little extra this year, I know a lot of people are struggling, but the Carlin Nally Foundation, which Rob Taylor sits on the board with, is doing some of the most amazing work in Lisle. Hands down. This is no BS. This is real work that has been being done by this man for a decade. I don't even want to say it. He's doing the work. Whether you've seen this work being done and advertised anywhere or not, if you've got a child that went through Lisle and received one of those scholarships from the Carlin Nally Foundation, you have Rob Taylor to thank partially. He's been one of the biggest orchestrators of making that foundation run great. Lots of people have. Don Kraus, John Bartels, Jay Grotowski. So many people are doing such good work for Lisle. They're sticking around, and it's got me wanting to stick around. So support Rob Taylor, I guess is what I'm saying. We need leadership like that. That's another guy. He's leading from the back. You know, he's not out there at front pounding his chest saying, look what I'm doing, look what I'm doing. I actually have to be that person for him because he won't do it enough. Look at you guys probably don't even know him. You know, you're sitting here on Facebook going, who's this Rob Taylor guy that Steve Winz keeps talking about? And, you know, that's tailor made for Lisle. And it's because he's not good at that. You know, I'll tell you, he's not. He hasn't had social media profiles. He's not putting his face out in front of the stuff. He's just creating the stuff in this community that makes this community great. And he's never asked for any fanfare. And I asked him to step up and to run for this position. And I don't think he would have on his own without some coaxing. You know, he's uncomfortable with the campaign process. He's uncomfortable with all this stuff because he just wants to go to work, you know? And so please, please, please keep Rob Taylor in mind when you go to that ballot. It's going to be listed independent behind his name. There's no parties. He's not part of any of the political slates. These political parties that are being formed in Lisle. I'm an independent. I want to be very, very clear. I am separate from any group. Steve Winz, Everybody Wins for Lisle is an independent. Rob Taylor is an independent. Christy Grau, this is a little shout out to her, unsolicited. So I'm just saying that I think Christy Grau is an important factor in the development and the growth and the moral integrity of our community. And she's also going to be listed as an independent. There will be no political names next to us. So look for the independent candidates. I think that's the best way to go in Lisle right now. Look at me go down that road. I'm trying to do that. Yes, Rob is a Golden Apple Award winning teacher. We tease him that he says it too much, but he doesn't say it. It's me. That's how I introduce him. Rob Taylor won a Golden Apple Award for his teaching. As a matter of fact, Carlin Nally, I believe, was a big part of how he won that award, because Carlin recognized that stuff. Carlin he was a Hall of Fame coach, and he would take his time for one of his students to excel, to receive awards, to get achievements. It was really amazing. I heard another story. Rob Taylor told me this story, actually. He's on here. He's on Facebook, but I probably won't mention him by name. But they had a friend who he wasn't really involved in track and field. He wasn't involved in any of that. And there was something that happened, like at a gym class or something, and they had a race. And this guy smoked everybody, just burnt them, cooked them. And I believe Rob Taylor said, you should join track, man. This was back in high school, like in 88 or 89, I think, for them. And he didn't want to. It was time consuming. His family had a difficult life. I think he had a single mother, maybe, was the story. But he got on that track team, and I think he qualified for like state nationals or something, some race in Pennsylvania. And if I'm not mistaken, Carlin Nally took him to that race. Like, drove this young man to Pennsylvania because his family wasn't in a situation that could afford him that luxury to go and compete in an event that he qualified for. That's amazing. It brings me back. That's my priority. That's my priority as mayor of Lisle, is to make sure that stuff is what's being broadcast across Facebook. The positive influence of people like Carlin Nally, the historical people. And then we named that road after him. And I'm not going to be done there. There are other people who have done great things in Lisle, and they need to be recognized for it. I nominated last year, and it got ignored. I nominated the board members of Carlin Nally Foundation for the Citizens Award in Lisle. And they didn't make the cut. So if you guys think about it, that's available. Oh, is it over? Was it December 31st? I might have missed telling you guys about it. There's a Citizens Award in Lisle, and maybe they'll use my nomination for last year for the board members of the Carlin Nally Foundation, because they're undoubtedly doing some of the best work in this community. So. Yeah, that's all, man. Holidays are over. I wanted to come and talk to you guys. I forgot my cup of coffee in the other room, so it's driving me crazy that I can't take a sip of it. But I'll be getting back to you guys more. You'll be hearing more. The ballot challenges are all up. Some people pulled my petitions to check them for errors. Actually, everybody did. Both political parties pulled my petitions to analyze them to see if I should be thrown off the ballot. So we'll find out if they're trying to do that or not. I didn't pull anybody's petitions. The more people on the ballot, the better, I'm guessing. But, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I really believe that. But I didn't go to the point to challenge anybody's petitions. Yeah, that's about it. I'm doing some work trying to figure some different things out, where we can find some revenue streams in Lisle. I've been investigating gaming. I want to be clear with people, make sure that nobody, I'm never going to be somebody who's trying to sneak anything by anybody. So if I'm researching, if I'm asking the village manager questions about stuff like that, you guys should know about it. You shouldn't have to go and FOIA my emails to the village manager. But I've been asking about gaming. It's something, especially after COVID, we're going to be needing to look for new revenue streams in the village of Lisle, ways that could possibly alleviate property taxes. You know, like that's the goal, is lower our property taxes, not just freeze them, lower them. And in order to do so, we still have services, and services are only getting more expensive, you know, but look at our beautiful park district. Look at the beautiful library. Look at all these different things that are going on. They cost some money. And if we don't want to pay for it in our property taxes, we have to find different ways to inject revenue into our local economy, especially after COVID. So I'm looking at some gaming issues. Gaming got passed by county board 6 months ago. So if you have a business in Lisle, but it's unincorporated Lisle, you have the possibility of putting gaming in there. If you're on the other side of the street, you lose that gaming. So like my point is, let's say you've got a restaurant in Lisle and somebody, wife, husband, they just have dinner. They go and they sit at the bar and they have a drink. Imagine being the owner of that facility and hearing that couple say, hey, let's get out of here and go over to such and such a place and use their machines. You're not just losing the revenue stream from them using those machines. Now they're not having drinks at your bar. The waiter isn't getting served. And so to me, it seems unusual that through half our town, this would be an allowed use and the other half not. The difficulty comes is, I think, the way it's written on the state level and how municipalities are allowed to divvy up these licenses. So there's some complicated issues. It's not something you can just go in and change, or else you could, you know, open up a hornet's nest of what gaming would look like. So it's something that we got to look close at. It'll take a little time, but I'm definitely going to be looking at these types of things for revenue stream. Make no mistake, if it wasn't clear before about the drinking ordinance, I think that would have been a good opportunity to allow drinking establishments in downtown Lisle. It's something that I know our staff doesn't want to revisit because it's a complicated zoning rewrite, but something that needs to be, Marcy, thank you for sharing the specifics. Well, Marcy is Rob Taylor's wife, and they're two of the most amazing people that I've ever encountered. You know, it's odd in life to reconnect with someone that you knew in your youth and then be so welcomed into their home. You know, they're wonderful people, and they do all kinds of fun stuff in their neighborhood. Rob used to host like these progressive dinners, and people like, I don't even know about it. I'm not making anybody appetizers. Trust me. You don't want me to make you cheese sticks in the microwave. But Rob does. Rob cooks. Rob entertains. Rob has people over. What else would he do? He does roasts for his friends. You know, so we had, you know, this is pre-COVID, but we had 25 people in his house for our friend Kevin's 50th birthday. And he created a roast. Like everybody got a chance to roast our friend with a microphone, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. He did, what was it? And then our other buddy Hector had his 60th birthday. And Rob created a, what was Hector's? Can someone remind me? Hector's was, it wasn't a roast. What did we do? Oh, we did trivia. We did a trivia game about Hector. And so it got to define, you know, Hector had friends there that he'd been friends with for 30 years, and then friends like me that were 5 years. And so it was this trivia game just sourced at Hector in his history and his life, and with his wife there and his kids were there, and it was a blast. And these are the kind of fun little things Rob does on a regular basis that nobody really, you know, I mean, nobody knows. You don't broadcast that. You're not taking pictures of that, being like, look what I did. He's just doing fun stuff. When the pandemic hit, when COVID hit, he started doing Zoom meetings with all of us friends. And instead of just talking, he created a trivia game there. And like, so we'd have our tablets set up, and we'd all talk, and then he'd do this trivia game. And then you would, man, I want to say he even made it specific. Like he did it specific to Lisle, like so people knew what was going on in Lisle. And he's just innovative. He's creative. He's going to bring that organizational ability. He looks at things that overwhelm me, that I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't even know how to begin to do that. He's like, oh, no problem. You do this, click, 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 and then it's done. And then you're on board. And then he leaves it to someone like me, who doesn't seem to mind getting in front of a camera once in a while to talk about it and to tell you what's going on. I know Rob, immediately when he started deciding to run for trustee, he got me in my truck the other day. He's like, hey man, let's go check out this property in Downers Grove. They built on this low-lying wetland right by St. Joseph Creek. I wonder how this all worked. And so we drove over there, got out of the truck, got on our boots, and Rob wears hiking boots. I wear real boots. Got out of the truck and started looking around. Oh, how come the creek flows like this? Didn't it used to absorb up into here? And, everything seems like it was done properly, but like, that's the way this man thinks, is like, I'm not just gonna go and open up the stormwater plan and look at it. Me and Rob, we got out and we looked at where the water is flowing. It's not just a Google Earth image. We're in the water. We got out. In fact, Public Works saw us and the rumor got around that Winz has his boots on again. I think I've heard that that's something that people, that they've been teasing me around the Public Works department. Like, Winz has his boots on again. Or I do something like this where I talk about it, and next thing you know, they got to go over and like clean something up because I was pointing it out on this stupid live stream. But I love you guys. You guys are doing a great job, man. You're understaffed. You got all kinds of storm, ice and storm situations going on with winter. You're asked to be on call, so I think it's great. And then they see me down in St. Joseph Creek underneath the bridge, and they're like, hey, what's going on? And like, oh, Trustee Winz, and that was me and Rob. We were in St. Joseph Creek looking at where they're talking about putting in new bridges, and if this is the most appropriate way to be spending our tax dollars. The new bridge sounds great, but if it's not actually hindering or causing some flooding, maybe it's not where we want to. And so we're looking into all this stuff. This isn't just getting up for me at the board meeting and spitting out an answer. I'm actually trying to figure them out, and I'm making mistakes, but I think when you've got people like Rob Taylor and I, who our sole focus is the soul of America, that's what it is. We have a heart for Lisle. It's important to us. This country as a whole is important to us. We want to talk about how to resolve things, and we want to do it right at home. We're cleaning off our front porch before we're worried about anybody else's. And there's work to be done in Lisle, and we're going to do it. We are doing it. Rob's been doing it long before he was running for trustee. I can think of numerous things that Rob does, and does it with ease and finds a way to make it fun. It doesn't seem like work when we're figuring out. Rob has a fundraiser and makes it fun. Who do you think's organizing all these Carlin Alley fundraisers? When we have the brewery fundraiser, that's Rob. Rob's the one that goes there and sets it up. It's thankless work a lot of times. They'll thank the whole group. And believe me, everybody in that group is doing amazing work. But I'm talking about Rob Taylor right now. So I just, I really, really hope that everything else that's going on in this community doesn't get in the way of the real work that has been done by this person for the village long before any trustee run, long before any of this political stuff. If he could have found a way to do it without running for office, I think he would have. But What did he say the other day to me? He's like, I'm 50 now. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I told him that I think he should be a village trustee for the next 20 years. That's my opinion. I think that if you elect Rob Taylor to village trustee, things are going to get done smoothly. Things are going to get done in a fair, observant way. He is hands down the best choice to be trustee of the village of Lisle. And I'll tell you what, that probably includes me over me. You know, I think that he has a way of doing things that better what I do. He's making me better. So you better be careful. I'm coming for you, Rob. No, I think it's really good. I think that we're looking for other people like that want to have this same attitude for Lisle, that just want to go and do the work, that are going to do the work no matter what. And, yeah, I think that's about it. I'm tired. I'm going to go watch The Mandalorian. I buckled down and bought The Mandalorian, bought Disney Plus. I'm going to go back to my cup of coffee. I've told Rob how great he is enough in this. I'm sure I'm going to have to hear about it. But I think that's it, everybody. I hope everybody's holidays were great. I'll post those pictures of the light winners below. And thanks to everybody who participated in that. You know, for all you people that went and drove around and looked at them, everybody who voted, everybody who decorated their houses, the people who donated the baskets, Autumn Geist, she's running for a Lisle position. She's running for township trustee, I believe. So good luck with that, Autumn. I think you're doing a good job. Appreciate what you did for this Lisle Lights event. Jax West, thank you very much for organizing this stuff. I get to sit up here and talk about the work that you guys really did put together. So thank you guys for doing that. Thanks everybody for participating. Let's do it again next year. You know, that'll be fun. Oh, and what else did I hear? I was told that there's a movement kind of going around the country about leaving your Christmas lights up longer to honor some of our frontline workers. There's a big resurgence in this COVID. I've heard let's see. I think a congressman-elect, he hadn't been sworn into office yet. He was 41 years old from Mississippi. He died of COVID the other day. I think a state senator in Virginia, 60-year-old man, just died of COVID the other day. There's a surge, and I think all of us are getting a new little awakening to the fact that this isn't gone away, and it is dangerous. So stay diligent. Let's work hard to follow those protocols. It's hard. I keep failing at it, and I catch myself. But I think if we remind each other, in a friendly manner, we should be able to curve this thing back again. Hopefully by the springtime, things are a little bit better. So thanks again, everybody. And I'm sure I'm missing something, and I'm going to have to go back and regret that I didn't say something or other. But I love you guys. I really do. I care about you guys. I care so much about Lisle. I care so much for this country. It's important that we have people who put that focus first, and just remember that it's a battle for the soul of America. It's a battle for the soul of Lisle. And I'm hoping that you see that's my number one concern is making sure that we're a healthy community and that we can talk to each other. All right. And it's been a while since I've done this. How do I end my live stream? Oh, I think I get to change this here. Give you guys some of my little folk music. And I'm supposed to transition out. Take care, everybody. Happy New Year. Man, I hope 21 is a lot better. All righty. Have a good evening.